First of all, let's define what undereating is. It's chucked around in the fitness industry quite a lot, but if you're new to it, or this is the first time listening to the Better with Brock podcast, let me define it for you. Undereating is simply consuming fewer calories than the body demands to maintain weight. That's pretty self-explanatory. And a question that I've had a few times is, how is undereating different from a calorie deficit? If you don't know what a calorie deficit is, it's what we need to lose weight. It's where we consume for fewer calories, than we burn. So if we burn 2,500 calories a day, but we only consume 2,000 calories, there's a 500 calorie deficit. And that is how we lose body fat. And how is undereating different from a calorie deficit? And the answer is, well, it's not really that different. If we're undereating, we are creating a calorie deficit. But the way that I would define the difference, if we read in between the lines, undereating is like a constant calorie deficit that just doesn't stop, and it becomes a lifestyle almost. It becomes an identity that someone has. I've had a lot of experience training people, and there is people that I have trained that have just been on 1,200 calories since they can remember. That's just who they've started to identify as, just someone that eats 1,200 calories, where that is a ridiculous amount of calories to live on. It can be put into context for a fat loss phase, but you don't want to be there for very long. And it's the same. I've had some men that I've trained, and they're at 1,600 calories, and they're training almost every day, which is a very, very low amount of calories to try and sustain their everyday life and support their physical activity. And it's just not enough. And that's who, this particular person kind of identified themselves as just a person that ate 1,600 calories and always sought out low calorie options. And I feel like that's the difference between undereating and just undergoing a calorie deficit. Is undereating's a bit more long term, it's a bit more permanent, and it begins to, morph into that person's personality as well. So that's just how I would differ undereating with a calorie deficit. I feel like people know how to utilize a calorie deficit, but then without them noticing, a calorie deficit, I feel, can turn into undereating if you're not aware of it. And that leads me to the next question I want to answer is, what leads people to undereat, to consume fewer calories than their body demands to maintain their weight, or eating under their maintenance calories? One would be body dissatisfaction, and that is just not being satisfied with your body, wanting to make a change. Often that is losing weight. So we begin to create a calorie deficit. But as I touched on previously, that can just continue to roll into a calorie deficit if we're not aware. So body dissatisfaction can be one, but that body dissatisfaction can also be in real life. If you wake up and you go to the bathroom, you take a leak, you look at yourself in the mirror and go, I'm just not happy with how I look. Today is the day that I make a change. And that could be a positive example of how body dissatisfaction has motivated someone into change. But it can also be quite negative, and it really depends on the person and how they're feeling that day or what their personality is. But it could also be, you wake up, you take a leak, you look in the mirror and you go, I hate the way I look. I'm going to starve myself because I'm a terrible person like this, and I need to punish myself. That's just a random example, but it could be that. So body dysfunction is just simply being unhappy with your body. That can drive people to make a positive change, and it can also kind of send them on a downward spiral. It just really depends on the trajectory that you choose. Another thing that leads to undereating is a desire to make body composition changes. And that could be, like I said, from body dissatisfaction, but it also could be just from something else. If you are getting ready to get married, Me and my wife did. We both went under our own sort of body transformation because we wanted to look great for our wedding. We wanted to be our best physically, also because we were going to go on honeymoon and eat our body weight in main courses at the breakfast buffet. So we wanted to get ourselves into a good position where we felt great on our wedding day, but also could make the most of the celebrations around and not be like, oh, sorry, I'm not having a slice of pizza. I'm actually counting calories on my wedding day. We didn't want to do that, and if you want to do that on your wedding day, that's completely fine. That's just not my idea of a good time. So it could just be a desire to make a body composition change. You might want to get to lose weight for a sport. You might want to try and motivate family members that you live with to make positive changes and lead by example. These are just other examples. Lack of nutritional knowledge can also lead you there. And I fell for this when I was younger, when I was full of passion, when I was full of drive and motivation to be a bodybuilder, like I saw in the fitness magazines and read on simplyshredded.com and the blog forums. I was just so committed. I would do anything. And what I was doing at the time was cardio sessions and weight sessions on the same day, whilst also counting my calories, eating 1,500 calories a day and going low carbs. I was just putting everything that I read from the fitness magazines and the blog posts into a blender and just drinking everything that I absorbed. So I was doing everything that I thought was right. Some was questionable knowledge, some was okay knowledge, but I didn't know the context that the information had to be in, and I just did everything at once. And that lack of nutritional knowledge definitely led me to undereating for a significant amount of time. I was eating 1,500 calories for, I can't remember if it was 3 months or 6 months, but it was a very long time. And I lost, how much was it? I lost 21 kg in a very short amount of time. It was something like 6 months. And that lack of nutritional knowledge, I didn't even know what a calorie was, but I was tracking 1,500 calories and I was just avoiding carbohydrates like the plague and just eating protein and eating fats and eating... I remember I had one time I was craving so hard. I was craving to have just a sandwich, and I had a sandwich with banana and peanut butter and honey in it, and it tasted like I had died and gone to heaven. And then the guilt just came over me and just smashed me. I felt terrible. So what did I do? I went out for a run, and then I went to the gym, and I kind of punished myself through exercise. So as you can see, this is not healthy. But I didn't know any better because I didn't have nutritional knowledge, but I also didn't have training knowledge. So that lack of knowledge can really get you in sticky situations if you're not aware of it. I was just young and full of passion, like I said, and I still made progress. But I also think I did myself some disservice with my relationship with food, with my energy levels, etc. I mentioned before, sports can get you to undereat if you want to do a weight cut, or you want to make a certain team that has to be under a certain weight, or you're getting ready for a fight. Let's say you do jiu-jitsu and you're about to compete in the 88 kg category and you're 92. You have to undergo a calorie deficit to drop body fat. You could stay in that calorie deficit too long, fall in love with looking lean, and just stay there. That's another example. Social media. Social media can lead you to undereating in many ways. You could be following fitness influencers, personal trainers, online personal trainers, and they could be sharing their meals, and maybe they are posting that they eat 1,200 calories a day and they have kale smoothies for breakfast, and then they have a green juice for lunch, and then they have a naughty snack of a handful of nuts, and then they have a little portion of salmon with brown rice and bok choy, and then they might treat themselves to a little yogurt that's 120 calories for dessert, and then they finish on 1,200 calories, and it's almost seen to you as that is the way forward. That's how I kind of move towards looking like this fitness influencer. You could fall for that. So just simply following someone's stories and what people eat from day to day, whether that's even what they eat or not, you could be seeing that as okay, that's what they've done. That's also what I have to do if I want to take my body transformation serious. I had Leah Simmons on the podcast. If you haven't watched it or listened to it, check it out. And she was talking about how when social media first came along and she was getting into fitness, she used to make these perfect little plates of food that were all nutrient dense, that were low in calories, that were high in protein. She'd take photos and take and create content around this meal, and then she would just slide it in the bin because she wasn't eating those foods. She wasn't actually eating. She was severely undereating. She was starving herself to maintain this image that she thought was healthy, and we could be following that and trying to eat those meals, not even knowing the dark side of the fitness industry, where that probably still happens today. Not everything that you see on social media is what it is, but also on social media, there's people with incredible genetics that are just lean year round. There are also people that are enhanced athletes taking PEDs or performance enhancing drugs and not disclaiming that, and you thinking, man, this guy, he looks jacked all year round. His chest is huge, his biceps are pumping, his body fat's low, he looks like 8%, and he's just there all year. So you start thinking that's what's normal, or that's what's achievable. I can look like that all year round because this guy does. So you try to stay lean all year round. And for you to stay lean all year round, you have to stick to a very low calorie deficit diet and stay on these poverty calories. And then you fall into that category of undereating. So social media is great for many reasons, but it's also, can be a place that really damages people in their fitness journey too, because there are some great coaches online, and then there are some that have just achieved this amazing physique by hard work and determination and share what has worked for them, which may not be the best practice for you. Lack of awareness that it's happening. That is a big one that got me with undereating. I didn't even know I was undereating. I was just like, it's 1,500 calories, all right? I'm always hungry. I'm always slightly bothered. I'm hangry 24/7, but this is just what it takes to look lean and to drop body fat. I just had no awareness. And this is kind of similar to the point of having lack of nutritional knowledge or training knowledge. What you don't know, you don't know. And what you aren't aware of, you cannot change. So that's why I always push education, and I post education. My clients have a ton of educational videos when they sign up to Team Brock Ashby. If you want to, you can just hit the link in my bio on my Instagram or just go to my website. But education is something that is huge, and it's something that I've really grown to love in all aspects of life, not just fitness. I'm currently reading the 48 Laws of Power at the moment, and even just listening and just growing and feeling like you're progressing in some way, shape, or form is a great feeling that I really like. But having that in the area of fitness can just help you stop wasting time. The time wasted can be huge for you in fitness if you aren't aware of what you're doing. So education is a great pillar to kind of stand on.